Welcome back to New Rockstars. While Marvel Studios is setting up Doctor Doom to be the big bad of the multiverse saga, is Kingpin now officially the big bad of the Manhattan battleground of the MCU, a villain to Daredevil, Spider-Man, Kamala Khan, the Young Avengers, and maybe even the Mutants in a future season? We need to talk about what I think are now the two towers of evil in the MCU and how Doom and Kingpin are going to be the baddies that Marvel is building their two spheres of characters around.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes launching your own website a breeze.
Oh yeah, and this is the sneak peek. I'm rarely here now, and I feel so bad
We've
that I
missed
forgot
you.
that I almost forgot my line at the beginning, which this is the sneak peek, the weekly show at New Rockstars where we bring the future of fandom to you, but also we just answer the most hottest questions. Hottest questions like, oh, where did the Grinch ever go?
What do you mean? Where did he go? He lives on his mountain.
No. Okay, first off, this is side conversation bit. I watched Frozen the other day, and I said, Elsa is just the Grinch, but pretty. I'm not joking. She went to that mountain.
Olaf is Max.
Yes, literally. I watched it and I went, wait a minute. Ran to the mountain to hide from the people that were terrified of them. They couldn't do anything about it. But the Grinch was because of his looks. Elsa was just because she was a magical witch.
Now, are you including the Ron Howard live action Grinch?
That's the
as part
only
of
one
his
I'm
origin
doing.
story?
That's the only
You've
one I'm
never
talking
heard
about.
of the animated
I've
one?
never seen the animated. What are you even talking about? Animated? I'm talking about the Ron Howard one. I thought we were
Jim
all on that
Carrey
page.
as the Grinch.
First off, okay, I'm joking. I love the animated Grinch, but I assumed we all know that the Jim Carrey, Ron Howard Grinch comes first anyways.
You still have not answered the question of where did the Grinch go? We always have a clear eye on where he is.
No, because at the end of the Ron Howard Grinch, it comes down, but we don't know where he goes after that.
He
After
goes
Benedict
to the mayor's wife.
That is true.
The muscle.
The muscle. We'll do a deep dive on the Grinch near Christmas time. We did Elf. We're going to do the Grinch. And we're going to talk about how he's in that ox suit, that ox fur suit. And he was so mad he had to like smoke a bunch of cigarettes. Is that what he had to do? That's what Ron Howard said. That is what they said he had to do because he was going crazy in that suit. It was hot and sweaty.
Yeah, and he had to wear these contacts and he's like blind. I think they were causing his eyes to be on fire.
Ron Howard said, look, I have never done anything like this before.
All right, so really what we're talking about today is Kingpin. We have now seen the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again. He is the mayor of New York, and he has a unique way of operating. He's trying to walk what he thinks is a noble path, but he started to call out some heroes that he now is just categorizing all of them as vigilantes, including Daredevil and Punisher, but also including the Spider-Man on that list. We know that Kamala Khan is going to be brought into this show in some way because of her father, Yusuf Khan, shows up in the trailer. So her family is somehow going to be connected to all of this. She's right across the river in Jersey City. And we were talking about this on the break room this week, that there is like a complete roadmap here if Marvel chooses to take this path, that Kingpin could just be the street level bad guy of the MCU. It seems like they have a lot of confidence in Vincent D'Onofrio. He even has said in all these interviews, like, we didn't really like the old version of the show. I called Kevin Feige and said, can we do it differently to make this a fourth season? And they're like, okay, D'Onofrio, whatever you want. It seemed like on the whims of him and Charlie Cox, they basically made this a fourth season. And I think that just shows a lot of confidence. And the only other person I know that Marvel Studios has that much confidence in an actor is Robert Downey Jr. Like, they are letting him kind of like, the Russo brothers are saying, they have a lot of he's doing a lot of research. He's kind of coming up with his version of the character. Are you comfortable with those two villains being like the main villains of the MCU? Do you think you would miss other people? Like, is that an appropriate replacement for you of Kang?
Of Kang, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think what really is going to actually end up happening is it's going to be like, yeah, he's going to be able to further this empire and somehow be able to do everything on the ground and expand to like LA and to San Francisco and all the other states. But I do think it's like without the help, or with the help of Vanessa and Valentina.
Yeah.
I think Valentina and Vanessa are going to help rise him to that power, but it will be centered around Kingpin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we will see other villains show up. Sentry and Val are going to be a sort of a villainous force, and Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four First Steps, Galactus will be there, and then future Marvel films, we'll see other villains. But in terms of like who's really running the show, who we always cut back to in post-credit scenes and whatnot, you bring up a good point of the geography of it. New York feels like its own world, its own sphere, right? It has different boroughs. It has a lot of diversity, a lot of different like parts to it, and with its different boroughs and having Westchester as like a, just a neighborhood upstate from everything. Feels like there's a lot you can explore and a lot of different characters who could live there. But we know that Marvel is also developing a West Coast storyline, and we're going to have some semblance of a West Coast Avengers. In this first episode of Daredevil, Karen Page says she's going to San Francisco, and we noted that the Ant family's there. Shang-Chi is there. In LA, you have She-Hulk, who Matt has spent some time with in the She-Hulk series. Wonder Man, it's going to be very much a Los Angeles show. So do we think Kingpin could be a villain to the West Coast, or are they going to need their own kind of like threat?
I think they're going to get their own threat, but it won't be as big as Kingpin. I think New York is going to be our hub for a lot of the, we said like Marvel Spotlight, Marvel Television. Those shows will be more focused on New York, but I do think for like Wonder Man, he will get his own villain. It might just not be as big as Kingpin, or it will not be as big as Kingpin will. I think those villains also are just going to be incorporated into like, if we do the Battle World scenario and we need a bunch of villains, we need to add in some newer ones, and that will be that guy that was against Wonder Man, or the person that's against Shang-Chi and Shang-Chi 2, or whoever it might be. Yeah. Maybe a sister. That's also the thing is like most of the other people that I'm like worried about, like is it Sharon, the power broker, and Shang-Chi's sister? They're not here in America, right? So I'm like, oh, they can't even be involved in any of this. Yeah,
they have like other. I don't think they care about specific neighborhoods and neighborhood heroes, and they don't care about a lawyer in Hell's Kitchen.
They said,
much.
Wait a minute. Stop what we're doing right here.
Yeah.
Get your ass to that van in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, I could see Wilson Fisk being a threat to them. We know he has like some infrastructure. He has a shipping company that runs at least as far west as Oklahoma. We saw that in Echo. There's no reason to doubt that he couldn't also have some kind of base of operation on the West Coast. But my thinking is, we know there's a power vacuum in the White House right now. After President Ross had to resign, there was some vice presidential figure in there, but that's going to be a pretty weak person. Do we think Fisk stays mayor in New York throughout Daredevil season 2 and beyond? Could he have higher aspirations to become the president of the United States in the MCU?
No, I don't think he has higher aspirations, but also I keep thinking we're forgetting that Valentina does think like 12 steps ahead, and she would not allow this to happen. I think that Valentina is still a bigger threat than we're imagining this world is with Fisk. I think a lot of Fisk's rise is going to be at the hands of Valentina. I think Valentina is putting in a lot of these pieces, and that's why I'm very hooked on Valentina and Vanessa being the ones that are really actually lifting Wilson Fisk to what he's going to become.
I think that what they might be doing with Wilson Fisk is what they wish they could be doing with Norman Osborn. And Norman Osborn during 100. Dark Reign, he's been president in the comics, and I think they want us to know who the president is, and that president to be like someone who can enact or execute legislation, send the DODC after people, a federal agency, and having a villainous president like that is an asset to Marvel Studios. I don't know if it's Fisk. It could be Val.
I was like, I don't think it's going to be Fisk because Fisk is still an idiot. Yeah. A smart idiot. I don't know if he's smart.
I just think it's interesting.
I think he's clever, but I think the way he is, he's too... volatile. He immediately reacts, and he reacts in very bad ways. I think that's why Vanessa is there to help a lot of the times. It sucks that Vanessa has to be the pacifier, but I'm like, without Vanessa, which I think is where we're kind of going because they're not in a good position, I think he's just going to become too easily triggered. And that's too dangerous as a political figure to be in the White House.
I don't think he'd be a good president. I mean, Norman Osborn,
great.
Mayor works for him because New York in some ways does have that history of Tammany Hall, and it's just who you know, and if you know the different power brokers within the city, you can run that whole city. To be a U.S. president, you have to be like a national political figure and just hit all the check boxes. You can't just be like a corrupt guy who just worked your way up.
And he is still a criminal.
Yeah, he is a criminal.
And I think the larger United States would be like, oh, we can't vote for this.
You would think. Gotcha.
I gotta go.
We have to go.
Oh my God, I gotta walk away.
You just walked right into it.
I am ashamed. I straight up said that.
Like, not to say, I think we have seen that one's criminal record doesn't hold one back anymore. But what could hold someone back is like a lack of media charm. And I just
100.
think Wilson Fisk is not great on camera. Like, certain people in our world are just very telegenic and just have whatever that charm is that connects to enough voters in swing states. I don't think Wilson Fisk is that kind of national figure. I think Val could be, and I think it's just because Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like, she strikes me as someone who in a fictional universe could be a president, just maybe because she played Selena Meyer, more than a CIA director. CIA directors tend to be not very like camera friendly, like kind of, older spies who remember when we called the Russians the Soviets and like know where all the ICBMs are hidden around the world. Like, that's who a CIA director is. And Val, with her cool looks and her hair stripe, she just doesn't seem like a CIA director.
I think that's why I'm like, I think she's plotting. She's plotting a big game and a long game, and I can't stop. It's not even like a big reveal, but in her article in Total Film where she was just like, the only thing I can tell you is like she was always 4 steps ahead. I was like, oh, so like, what's the larger game at hand other than the CIA director? It's probably going to be owning the world, or owning the United States, then going to the world. Yeah. But I do think if she does offer Wilson Fisk any help or any assistance, she's still letting him do his own thing in New York. She doesn't care. Like, New York is still small, still small, but it's also like so chaotic. She's like, yeah, go ahead. Wipe the vigilantes. I don't care.
Yeah, it probably helps her out.
Yeah, honestly, it definitely probably helps her out to be like, get rid of them. Make everyone's gonna be potholes fixed. Whatever you want to do.
So I could see how that works out. Bucky Barnes is now a congressman from one of the federal election districts in New York City area, maybe the Brooklyn district, which would be Hakeem Jeffries' seat. That's one of there's a couple different ways that Brooklyn is divided. One of them is Hakeem's seat, which is very funny. House Minority Leader in our world. So if Bucky has his seat, it just tells us something interesting about the politics of the MCU. Bucky, I just don't see as like a presidential figure, but I didn't even see him as a congressman either.
Well, he's still a vet, right? He's still a vet. And how much of the public know about him?
He was on the news as a fugitive in a killer.
Right? He was labeled as the one that did they ever tell the public correct the public that he did not kill?
I assume he must have been exonerated.
Okay.
But he also went to Wakanda and was like sheltered, and the Sokovia Accords were still in place. So even if they realized it was Zemo who did it, they still view him as a Steve Rogers aligned, like, fugitive superhero who won't sign the Sokovia Accords, which I'm sure a lot of people in the MCU are like, I'm fine with that. They should have their own rights to handle things the way they want.
Still be, and this is just me speaking, if I was a person on the BB report, I would be like, I don't know if I trust that man. They say he did kill a king, and then they said they didn't kill a king, and then he disappeared.
I'd be more worried about, like, when was he born? Like, he's 110 years old.
That is also, wait. Yeah, has just regular people made that connection that he is 100 years old?
I don't know. And I also don't know how much they know about his mind control by Hydra. I think that might have been kept under wraps. I'd be terrified if, like, the guy I was voting for had a mind control phrase.
To be fair, I think people know that he is a bad person because remember that he killed so many innocent people, and then they started like the memories were coming back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm like, you think word of mouth hasn't happened enough about this man just murdering people, and then he shows up on the news like in normal times killing a bunch of people? I don't know. I feel like people do know, but maybe they're gonna keep that a secret because I'm like, I wouldn't. He is a vet. But if I know what I know, I wouldn't have voted for him.
For sure. If before we knew that Bucky was going to be a congressman, if you asked me to take a list of 50 MCU characters as they've been depicted in the films and TV shows, and who would be the most likely versus least likely to be someone to seek public office and to get elected, there are so many characters who have done press conferences, who have done TV spots, who have just been like media figures. Tony Stark, probably chief among them. He's definitely a media figure.
I would have assumed like Peppa at this point.
Pepper Potts. Don't you think she would have run for something? Point. Yeah. Even like Happy has been like on the news. Happy Hogan. Although he has come under like DODC prosecution, so maybe not. Jen Walters is an attorney. A lot of attorneys run for public office.
There's a lot of people that, even the people, once Wakanda got revealed, it would have been a lot of people in Wakanda got into politics. Yeah. Like it would have been Shuri, I know Shuri probably wouldn't have in Wakanda forever, but I think eventually like Winston C. Dukes and Baku or someone else would have become like more into
Now,
political figures.
let's see. They wouldn't be able to run for president because you'd have to be an American citizen to run.
Can't. But they could
run.
Well,
for,
they're still in the UN part, I guess.
They could run for governor. They could run for House, I believe. But
there's a million people before Bucky that I would have suggested. That's why also a piece of me is like, I don't think he wanted to do this. I think he had to be pushed into. He had to be forced into it. It's probably a Valentina motive. They were like, hey, look, you got to go do this or else we're going to give it to Wilson Fisk.
I think John Walker for sure would run. Even though he's been, in the negative light, he's done so much media.
Yeah, and people would have voted for him.
Yes,
people would have voted for him.
That makes more sense.
Would have voted for him.
It's like my biggest question going into Thunderbolts, a movie that has a lot of questions presented in its marketing. With an asterisk even in the title. Still, I'm most curious, and I can't let go of this. Everyone in the comments of our videos are like, let go of it. Why shouldn't he be able to run? I'm like, okay. I just realized a lot of people watching the Rockstars videos don't really follow presidential and election politics and the news.
Oh, why U.S. agent can't run?
It is so weird that Bucky Barnes, and it doesn't matter what district you were running in. You could be running in the most far-right district in Wyoming. It would still be weird to have a Hydra mind-controlled 100%. Assassin.
100%.
Even if it was a secret, people would have found out. People would have been like, he's just kind of quiet. You got to be a loudmouth who loves to get in front of a camera and a microphone to run.
I think it would have came out, but clearly MCU's playing it up that we don't know. Like, I do think it would have got out. We would have all known about his past. But I think the MCU is playing up that we, as the civilians, regular people, don't really know.
I guess they've been through so many other things, like Thanos'
I still would hold on to it. After the snap, I'd been like, hey, don't let that guy in. Wasn't there a recording that came out of him killing 2 old people?
Or Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner just seems like a kind of guy who might run.
We all know... we have voted for Bruce since technically the Battle of New York is a canon thing.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have voted for Bruce Banner.
Oh, yeah. Or the Harlem destruction.
Yeah.
People in Harlem would not have voted for him. I think there are a lot of people in New York, a lot of people in other cities
the people in New York that remember.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Hawkeye. Easy win.
Clint Barton.
Clint Barton would have easily won something.
I think so,
makes
too.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He not only is he a veteran, but he's also, during the fight, from Kate Bishop's view, we see him, he was, people looking at him being like, now that's a hero.
Yeah. He doesn't cause much collateral damage.
No, he doesn't.
Some of his arrows are explosive. But
they are. Sometimes they turn you into tiny people, and then an owl picks you up and
that's
flies
right.
away with you.
Sometimes you are just owl food thanks to his arrows.
No, I agree. We did get off track, but I completely agree with you that I don't think people would know. People would know about Bucky, and I don't understand why he's in that position.
Well, we were bringing this up because, we have heard in the past how Brad Winderbaum, he has now basically been given control over the TV side.
Yes.
Kevin Feige is overseeing the film side. Brad Winderbaum's overseeing the TV side on Disney+. And Brad Winderbaum basically confirmed that Kingpin is his new Thanos. While they were doing press for Echo in January 2024, I believe Screen Rant asked him, speaking of Thanos, it feels like Wilson Fisk is the Thanos of this street corner of the MCU. Is that the case going forward? Is he like what we're building towards? And Brad Winderbaum said, oh man, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I can't say too much, only that as a chapter in Wilson Fisk's life, this is a crucial one that sets the stage in some remarkable ways for what's coming next.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking about Echo and what he went through there. But in Daredevil Born Again episode 1, and I believe episode 2, he kind of hints at, what that transformation was. Well, a question real quick. Do you think that this season of Daredevil will flash back to his recovery time, either after Maya shot him in the face or on the other side of his Oklahoma visit with Maya when he moved back to New York?
I do think if we do, it would be from the scene after he gets in the is it the private jet?
Yeah,
when
he's
he
got,
looks
like,
at the news and he goes,
something.
I know what I want to do now. I feel like we'll see a little bit of that. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of the wound healing unless we're seeing it from to cater to Vanessa.
Yeah.
That's the only part. I don't think it would be to give us any insight onto him. It would be more about Vanessa being like, oh, I was alone and you left me when you were shot in the face by a child.
Yeah. I think you're right. And really the big reason why I don't think we'll see a flashback is that a lot of these episodes now going forward in Daredevil Born Again are from the original Corman and Ord era. And they did do some reshoots. They did retool and creatively overhaul the show. They basically rewrote and reshot 3 episodes and then reshot a lot of scenes for the other episodes. When it comes to this stuff, I think this is all shot before Echo even came out.
Yeah.
And they were shooting Echo in this earlier version of Daredevil Born Again roughly around the same time.
Yeah, it sounds like also for Echo, they were mainly playing in a playground that was like like they had to pay attention to Daredevil Born Again. It wasn't Daredevil Born Again having to listen to what Echo was doing. Echo was like, oh, we got to work around this show that's coming out. So I understand that like Daredevil Born Again was like, we didn't even really look at Echo and what was going on there.
Spring cleaning doesn't have to just mean sprucing up your apartment. It can apply to your digital life as well. If you're looking to redecorate a website you've already got or build one up from scratch, Squarespace can help put together a polished website in no time at all. Squarespace is an all-in-one tool that gives you everything you need to make a website that looks good and does whatever you need it to do. Every Squarespace website is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more, so you show up more often to more people in a global search engine results. And with just a few clicks, Squarespace can help you untangle digital payment platforms, making it easy to start receiving payments right away using popular payment methods like Apple Pay, ACH, Direct Debit, Klarna, and more. If you're not a graphic designer, don't worry. Squarespace's design intelligence tool makes it so easy to get your website looking just right. It combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I think potentially my biggest theory for this season on Daredevil Born Again is like I'm really feeling like there might be some kind of cybernetic implant in Fisk's eye to be able to see this augmented reality, but I'm just feeling like maybe that is not the case.
Also, if they finish these episodes after, like before Echo, they would be like, "Oh, we didn't even take into account
we
those
didn't think
eyes."
about that. That's not. So I want that to be the case. I want this guy to be able to like look at people and be like, your heart rate is elevated. You're lying to me, and he'd have that same skill that Matt Murdock has. I want him to be able to look at someone and be able to scan their genetic codex and be like, this person has the X gene, and he has this unique ability to see which people are mutants and which people are not mutants. I don't think they're going to give him that power.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to see it.
He already has enough power. He's mayor. He can fix potholes on the
I just
whim.
think it'd be cool if he had that kind of like Terminator vision. That would just like be a really fun tool to play with in future seasons. Because I really do think, as we're looking ahead to Avengers, Doomsday and Secret Wars, we know that like Battle World is going to be a landscape that Marvel Studios is building, maybe even a landscape that their Imagineers are building at Disney that we could visit. I would love to be able to explore different corners of Battle World at an event or at an Avengers corner in one of these Disney parks. I think what they might do is have a more localized sphere where it's just Manhattan. Like MCU Manhattan is just where a lot of their stories can take place. It's where a lot of the Marvel comics just took place because that's how these characters all lived in the same city and how they got to know each other. I think Kingpin could be the villain of that sphere. And you could introduce Kingpin not just as like a villain for Daredevil and Punisher. You could introduce Kingpin as a villain in the next Spider-Man movie. I think my favorite pitch that I gave for Spider-Man 4 is where it is just like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Kamala Khan teaming up with Matt Murdock to fight a Wilson Fisk who's trying to hunt down mutants in New York, and Kamala Khan is one of those mutants, and that kind of becomes like the Young Avengers working against. If they do have a Young Avengers storyline, Kingpin could be the villain of that storyline.
100%.
If we wanted to introduce a mutant academy in the state of New York, Wilson Fisk could extend its jurisdiction to send his goons out to try to like find mutants in the New York or Tri-City area.
Yeah, I love that. I think that would be a great idea. I think they just have to focus first on making him powerful enough to do that. As someone that doesn't have like powers, because he's not gonna have the eye thing yet. But and that's where like the mayor part comes in. But it's also such a long journey because it's like, you can get all this political power, this grounding power, even with NYPD, but you can't just immediately get it. We need to see the trajectory or what happens in between that stops that, and that's like the relationship with Vanessa, Daredevil, the Muse, Punisher coming back. There being a sub-adjacent maybe version of the Punisher and his goons. So I think it's going to be a minute until we get to that part.
Yeah, for sure. This is like season 3 or a spinoff
like
potential. We have and from what I understand, they are really reining in what they're doing on Marvel TV. They are only going to be greenlighting 1 or 2 shows a year. And from what we know, we don't know if that's like new shows in addition to bringing back a 2nd and 3rd season of Daredevil, X-Men 97, another season of Agatha potentially. But they are like in terms of the new shows they greenlight, they may just feel like we are only going to tell stories that exist in New York, and they're going to just follow the model that Netflix tried to do on the Defenders series. It was all New York-based stories. But now they have like the full weight of all the characters that have been introduced in the MCU. They can apply that Spider-Man's just around the corner.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
there's a real power to that. I think what you're saying about like Fisk needing the power, I feel like all we really need is just a single scene with him and Val. I think once 100%. I know that he has the federal government that's helping him.
And he does. I don't know why we haven't. Well, the only reason I think he does is because I'm sure Val helped him get those electronics that fixed his eye. Like, I'm sure Val had something to do. If Tony Stark left that stuff in Avengers Tower or somewhere else, Val got it, gave it to Wilson Fisk. I don't know why. I know there is no way that man is running all of New York, and basically New Jersey. And Val isn't like, wait, it's not a superpowered person? Just a really strong person? Let me go talk to him. Like it has to be.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for that reveal, and it might happen in Thunderbolts. I hope it happens in Thunderbolts. Even like a phone call. Just tell me that you talked to Fisk.
Yeah. I have loved having D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk back in my life this week. Just like that character that he plays, it is so different from how D'Onofrio talks. Like from the mannerisms to just that timing of the voice and where he localizes the words in his throat is just so specific. And when I watched Daredevil season 1, I'm like, this is going to get old. And it's never gotten old. It's only aged like wine. I just need more of this. I feel like this guy, Marvel Television could use him for the next 10 years.
100%.
As just a background villain for anything that happens in New York.
He has to be. I think for grounded stuff, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Especially if we do just stay with a lot of the New York stuff, and then every now and then we go visit the West Coast. He has to represent the East Coast.
So if we're really looking ahead here, because this is the sneak peek at the future of fandom, we know that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom in Doomsday and in Secret Wars. I don't know if they're going to if they can afford him for like future films.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
No, what I'm saying is like, we got to think of another big bad on the other side of Dr. Doom. Once we're in the Mutant Saga, who do you think the villain of the Mutant Saga will be?
I don't know. And that's also because I don't read the mutant comic books. I only read the ones that have Scarlet Witch. So unless it is Scarlet Witch, I was like, unless it is Scarlet Witch, that could be the big bad if she returns and is just fully everyone hates her and she has to retaliate to save herself. But I don't know who else it would be. But it would have to. I feel like it has to be a mutant adjacent person.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of Magneto from Ian McKellen in X-Men '97.
That'd be crazy to just throw him in immediately after Doom.
Yeah.
That would be insane to be like, he's already bad. Like, here you go.
There's been a lot of scoopers back from like 10 years ago who are saying Mr. Sinister. They really want Mr. Sinister.
I love Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister was a villain in X-Men '97 at first, and then it became a Bastion OZT threat. And then by the end of it, it was an Apocalypse threat. And Saban Nur showed up at the very end of X-Men '97. So it seems like they're doing like Age of Apocalypse in season 2, or that was the original plan. I'm just kind of curious. I think it's going to depend on how well Doomsday and Secret Wars do as to how much pressure Marvel's going to feel to play the hits versus go to their fan favorite mutant characters. My sense is that they're going to want to play the hits.
They're going to want to play this. That's why they're doing Doom. Like that's the hit. That is the hit. Yeah. That is the hit. When you were like Fantastic Four, we all said, okay, where's Doom? Like,
so
we've
then
been
probably
waiting.
Magneto then, right?
Yeah, probably Magneto. Mr. Sinister, I'm in the most respectful way. And again, I don't really know. I only know what I've seen from the animated series. Yeah, he's bad, but not as bad as Dr. Doom, if that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, he's like sewing people together and being gross, but I'm like, I'm not as afraid of him as I am of Doom.
Yeah.
At least I can like be like, oh, a couple of us can take on him. I don't think we could take on Doom.
Yeah, Doom is a bigger threat, for sure. What I hope that they do for the Mutant Saga is not just build the universe around one supervillain like Magneto or Apocalypse, but rather just make the American political establishment the villain. And that way, Fisk could be a villain, Val could be a villain, whoever's president at the time. And some of these, American politicians that we met in the animated series, any of them could step up to be the villain. The way Colonel Stryker, Brian Cox's Colonel Stryker in the Fox X-Men series was my favorite villain from that
he
run.
Was fun.
Yeah,
I think, and that's the thing, we can still do the Friends of Humanity and go back to those things. I think the message for the X-Men that even we did feature in the Fox X-Men, I think we should still bring over to the MCU, even if it is kind of like not old news, but we know why people hate the X-Men, why they're like, oh, we don't trust them, they're gross, we know what they were symbolizing. And I'm like, yeah, I think the MCU should still do that. Make humanity the villains, make us the villains, make us afraid of them, and we're destroying them and we're killing them.
So I really think what they could do in the Mutant Saga is just establish characters like Wilson Fisk, Robert Kelly, Graydon Creed, Val, and any human who just has the full weight of the American government and the American military behind them as the villains of the Mutant Saga.
I would love that. I'd eat that up. Follow-up question. Where do the Skrulls take place in this? Where does Secret Invasion take place since they're infiltrating?
I've never heard of them. What are they?
Are we just never going to acknowledge that again? That there's a war on Skrulls, and that some of the major political figures in the globe are Skrulls?
Here's a question. Marvel fans out there, would you be okay with never hearing about the Skrulls ever again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
The only reason I'm saying yes is because I think I'm scrolled out. I'm like, you guys gave me a lot of Skrulls.
We got a lot of Skrulls.
Y'all gave me so many Skrulls.
Here's what I want. I want Skrulls to exist on the cosmic side. I actually like the Skrulls being part of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
That was the Marvels rather. When they go to Skrullos and then they like have those Skrull refugees and then they leave the movie. That's what Skrulls should be. They should be like, Corbinites and Kree and other cosmic figures who show up in the background of Thor movies and Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Have some Skrulls in the background.
We feel horribly offensive being like, I like you in space, not when you come over here.
I don't want like a secret invasion thread of like who's the Skrull on Earth. I'm just not interested.
I genuinely am not. But also, which, but if we just forget about it, I guess we can. I guess we can just sip it.
We can come back to it. I just think like I would love to see a Kree versus Skrull conflict in a Nova story or a Guardians of the Galaxy legendary Star-Lord story. Very interested. But man, Skrulls on Earth just are not interesting to me anymore.
I can't remember if she was a clone or a robot, but there's a Valentina that was a clone or a robot. I can't remember what it was, but it was like Valentina 2.0. And if that is revealed to be a Skrull in our MCU, I will throw myself through this garage door. I will throw my full body through that.
Just think of the other ways you can spend the budget of the VFX of a Skrull shapeshifter
oh my
Marvel.
God. Oh
so
my
many other ways. Just give us one or two extra cameos of She-Hulk and something.
Yeah, I'd
prefer that.
I'll even take Kevin, the robot. I'll take anything else. I swear to
Kevin
God.
Robot. Yeah.
That money you guys put into making that poor woman Amelia Clark's head so small and her body so big, you don't need to waste your time or your money. You can do it on something else, I promise.
Just give Ironheart 2 extra suits with that money.
Ooh,
give her a couple extra. Give her a nice neon suit that she can change into in a post-credit scene. Just spend the money on anything else.
Goodbye, Skrulls.
Goodbye, Skrulls.
Goodbye, Skrulls.
Bye-bye, Skrulls. No coffin for me. Just wet mud for Skrulls.
What?
It's Vanessa Bayer. I think you should leave sketch.
Oh yeah, she says you
just
fat
a couple
hog.
fat pigs
Just
slopping down some pig meat.
You guys said to be mean.
Sunday fun day with these fat pigs.
With these fat pigs scarfing down some lunch.
If the Skrulls were to die tomorrow, no one would shed a tear.
Damn. There goes the Skrulls.
Look at us, a couple of Krees just being completely okay with Skrull extermination.
We're just Krees being like, yeah, get them out of here.
We're going to curb this Skrull versus Kree propaganda right here and now. But let us know. I really do think the MCU could just be better if they reined it in with just like a cosmic landscape, or that includes a multiversal landscape, whatever. But when we go to Earth, if most of the time we just spend our time on Earth in the New York area, unless we're going to the West Coast Avenger or have some international conflict, I don't know if I need to see like a Nevada, unless we're going to like a test center or something like that. I don't need to spend time in the suburbs of Ohio in the MCU. Like as stories based
I
there.
do when they're children on bikes
with fireflies.
With little fireflies.
I like when scenes jump around to different parts, but I just want all the stories to kind of exist and affect each other in that way.
Yeah, I think they're gonna, and I think they're only going towards that direction right now, especially with the Defenders. If they bring up all the Defenders,
I think it's just easier to tell stories that way.
Easy. Yeah. I don't mind them just sticking to New York. Like I truly do not mind. New York is a fantasy land to me, anyways, because I'm in I've only been on the West Coast. So anytime I'm in New York, I only go to Marvel destinations and I go, ooh.
It is a bizarre, wonderful place.
It is. Oh my gosh. The size of your rats and the amount of your rats. I thought LA had bad rats.
I've never seen a rat in LA. I've seen other things in LA that frighten me.
I've seen things that are adjacent to rats.
I've seen scarier things in LA. I've seen skunks that I thought were cats.
Oh my God. Yes, that side note. I was driving today after going to the gym, and then I was stuck at an intersection that was going for so long. These dumb seagulls, we were speaking of rats, flying rats, these dumb seagulls were trying so hard to fly into the middle of the intersection to get this one French fry. They were circling so much, and then when traffic would stop, they'd go down, but then the next car would come to turn, and they'd be like, whoa! And they were just flying, going around. And that's what we have in LA.
We have coyotes. We have pumas that go
pumas?
through the LA hills.
I was like, well, you can see a coyote down the street, unfortunately, now. And then skunks are everywhere.
Skunks are
That's
everywhere.
what's been banging on this door.
Nothing's worse than when you're driving down a side road and you see a dead skunk approaching, but the smell hasn't hit you yet, and that dread you feel. Because you know it's going to stink up your car.
You have a skunk in your guys' neighborhood.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there's a skunk that's in that neighborhood. That's
your guys', it's our neighborhood.
It's not mine. No, it's yours. You and John.
No, you live close enough.
I live close, but not that close. And you and John, that your literal that area, that side, you guys have like a skunk that goes under people's houses and lives there. John said on one of the neighbors, one of your guys' stinky neighbors.
You can't.
There's a skunk underneath.
Yeah, and you can't go near them. They're just they're the worst. Well, let's look ahead to what's coming next week on New Rockstars. It's going to be a very crazy week. We have our Daredevil episode 3 reaction that's coming out Tuesday night. Very excited to watch this episode with you.
Yes.
The breakdown of episode 3, Jessica is going to be handling everything. I can't wait to see what you find in it. And we're going to be like sharing responsibilities to break down these episodes of Daredevil Born Again. And I'm just grateful that you do, because it's a lot of work to do these.
I'm dreading the court episode. Whatever episode is going to be like a heavy court episode. But thank God, you guys, even when She-Hulk, my best friend is a lawyer. And so I go to her and I go, hey, can you do this? And she goes, no, you can't do this. And I'll go, okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. So when it comes to law and this breakdown, I got you.
So that Easter egg breakdown will be coming out to the New Rockstars channel on Wednesday. But before that, over on the Break Room channel, we will be taking your questions with Evan and Brandon. Every question or thought or feeling you have after episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again, go over to the Break Room channel and join that live stream. Last week's was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude.
And then on Thursday will be Jessica's breakdown of episode 8, the finale of Invincible season 3.
It's gonna be done. And in the last episode, whoo! Someone died. And it was really sad. But it's okay. We move forward. We move forward and upward.
From what I understand is happening on Invincible this season, I'm glad I'm not watching it. It looks like an incredible show that I just do not have the emotional capacity to handle. 3 out of the 7 episodes so far have been very heavy. Oh my God. On Friday will be my breakdown of Severance episode 9. Is this the last episode? There's one more after this. They're 10? Okay. Yeah. This season's been so good. So good. I'm glad. So yeah, that'll come out on Friday. So busy week. And if any big news comes out, we'll be covering it. You know, any big trailers. I think the first week of April, we'll be seeing some like Superman trailers, maybe a Fantastic Four. When is Thunderbolts officially dropping? May 2nd. Okay, so that's the after Daredevil. Oh no, we have Ironheart's in June. Ironheart's in June. So we have a little bit of a break between Daredevil, Born Again, and Thunderbolts. Yeah, but we'll be covering The Last of Us at that point. The Last of Us. Oh, damn. Oh yeah, The Last of Us, and then there's Andor. No one's gonna have time to watch 3 episodes a week of Andor. I'm telling you. 3 episodes a week? Yeah, they're clumping it. 1 hour episodes? 1 hour episodes, and 3 not just episodes. That's a movie. Dense, beautifully written 1 hour episodes. It's like 3 movies a week. Like it is gonna be really hard. It's a bummer that they're doing it that way, but that's just how Disney Plus is. Well, to be fair, in the most respectful way to people watching, Andor feels like the most adult show to be watching, anyways, for Star Wars. So they're probably like, we know who's watching this. And it's going to be a bunch of adults watching it in segments. I don't think they're too worried about it being 3 a week, but they're just like, yeah, we know who's watching. I think a lot of viewers are just going to get behind. Like, I think 100%. Like people are doing a lot of stuff in their lives. They're taking care of kids. They're going to the gym. Comes out, I think it'll be like Tuesdays or Wednesdays or something like that. Well, maybe they got a little bit of time. You got the full week. And when you come home, get one on Tuesday night? Yeah, you come home every day after your job and you're like, oh, I'm going to sit and watch an episode. And then you
And
watch
on the
one
weekend.
Saturday, one Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's no football right now, but there is basketball. People will be watching that. There's going to be college basketball.
No one's watching March Madness.
And this will be in April, so it'll be the
I think people will have. I think Tuesday was a good idea if it is Tuesday. I'm like, Tuesday is great. Early in the week, I got all week and the weekend to do it. You guys are gonna have fun. It's gonna be fun.
I just would have liked 2 a week. If they had done 6 weeks of 2 a week, that I could handle.
3 hours.
3 a week.
Maybe it's not
weeks.
an hour each. Maybe they're like 40 minutes. You know.
I don't know. I think these are going to be dense Tony Gilroy
Wasn't
written
the
scripts.
first episode of Andor like an hour and 12 minutes? Like it was
I don't
over
know
an
about
hour?
that.
I thought it was over an hour.
I don't know.
I could be completely wrong. I definitely could be completely wrong. I thought that one of the episodes were like over an hour. So that's what made me nervous.
Wow.
Like watch one be 112 and then the other one be 48 and the last one be 53.
Well, we'll be covering Andor on New Rockstars. I think we're just going to have 4 very long videos is how it's going to work.
How are you going to submit
I have no idea. I have no idea how we're going to do it, but we'll do it.
Yeah, how are you guys going to do 3-episode, 3-hour breakdown?
I
guess you could summarize a lot of it. A lot of it is discussion.
But that's the type of show that I want to break down every line of, every background detail. It's just so great, you know? Anyway.
We'll see. We'll see when it happens.
We'll see. Okay. We haven't done this in a while. A segment of what
we're
watching.
This is why we can't do it.
That's why we can't
do it.
do
Because you
it.
keep breaking this table. Look.
This thing is on its last leg.
Every inch of this wobble has been done because of Erik.
Yeah, for sure. Every time I spin, I just bang my knee on it. What have you been watching?
You know, it's really funny. I'm rewatching the animated series Batman on Amazon right now. Dude, I forgot how many episodes that show was.
Oh, that went for years.
I'm on season 2, episode 38. Season 2, episode like 38. I said, was it always this long?
Have you gotten to Fear Itself?
No, wait.
Have you gotten to the Mr. Freeze? The Mr. Freeze episode is my favorite.
Okay, so I'm nervous. So this is what I'm nervous about. I'm watching it right now freehand. The one thing Amazon doesn't do that every other channel does is ask if you're still watching. So I've been falling asleep and it's been going on. And then I wake up and I get ready to it and then I work to it and I sit there and watch the episode. So I might have missed it. I'm at a lot. It's gotten very deep with Harley Quinn right now.
Oh yeah.
And also,
great.
Mark Hamill is a great Joker. Yes, 100%. Horrible person. I hate the Joker in the animated series.
His relationship with Harley Quinn is very messed up.
And he hits her, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's
and,
not
like,
great.
and I know he's bad. I know he's a bad. That's the whole point. But I was like, oh, I never saw this.
or we did as kids, we just didn't.
Or maybe we didn't
realize
process it well.
what it was.
Genuinely, maybe. It was hard. I watched it. and I went I was like
Yep. It hits differently as an adult.
Yeah, it definitely does. But and it sucks too because I'm like, Mark Hamill is eating this role up.
Oh, he's
Mark
incredible.
Hamill is having so much fun. It does not even sound anywhere near Mark Hamill. But yeah, great to rewatch. Sad parts, but also very entertaining. Very easy too. It's like easy.
And the art design of that show
It's so fun.
Man,
It's
looks so good.
And that's the thing is some episodes come back to me where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. I forgot like very early on when Harley Quinn meets Poison Ivy, they're robbing like a museum for Poison Ivy's like chemicals or something. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot like they're meeting because they're just like robbing this museum and they both got to get out. And then they become really good friends. And Harley keeps messing it up by bringing Joker into it. But, you know, she learns eventually.
We're still no I want to say we watched we've been watching Survivor. We're flying through it. I'm now in season 22, which a lot of people consider to be the worst season, and I don't know why yet.
Who's on it?
So they did Heroes versus Villains, which was the best season. Hands down, the best season. That was
Even
season
from
20.
the earliest, even from every season you've seen, this is the best season.
In my opinion, the best season. It's better than All Stars. A lot of people consider Pearl Islands, which is season 7, to be really good. That's where the first time we met Sandra, one of the goats. First time we met Rupert, one of the goats. Johnny Fairplay. A very good season. That was a pirate season. They've done other pirate seasons since then, I believe. I don't know. Season 20 was Heroes versus Villains, and they brought back a lot of these guys, and it was a delight. Season 21, not that great. Season 21 is Nicaragua, and then season 22 is also Nicaragua. Literally, it seems like they use the same sets, the same challenges, and they bring back Boston Rob and Russell. And this is the era when like CBS loved Russell and they thought he was just great TV. And he's not that good of a Survivor player, in my opinion.
So familiar. I can't remember.
Well, Russell is considered one of the craziest villains because he like is okay with backstabbing everyone, and he just knows how to use. He was the first one to figure out how to really weaponize the immunity idol. The immunity idol had existed in several seasons before him. He got on the show. He's like, why isn't anyone using it this way? He was the first guy to go out looking for the immunity idol without any clues because he just watched other seasons. He's like, they always hide it in some obvious spot. So he just went out and found it, and he kept finding it. I believe he was in season 19.
Has anyone else kept trying to do that yet?
Now other people have started to do it, and now it just makes the immunity idol kind of
like,
boring.
Yeah, pointless.
There was many seasons where it's like, oh, they actually effectively, the producers knew how to use it well, and they knew how to like hide it only on Exile Island. But now it's just like at camp, easily findable.
I stopped watching Survivor at like, I think after the Sandra season 7 season 7 is when afterwards season 8 I did not watch, but I do get clips all the time because I think my phone just knows John is talking to me about Survivor. I don't know if this is in one of the seasons you've watched, but have you seen where the immunity idol is in one of the foods that they're auctioning?
Oh, I might have. Oh, I've not seen it in the burger yet.
Oh, it was
maybe I have. I don't remember.
I don't know what the woman was. She got the burger, and then when she was eating, she found it, and she had to like hide it while everyone's like.
I have not got. So what they do is they hide the immunity idol, but they give you clues in your rewards.
Okay.
So what they're doing now is like if you win reward, you'll get like a jar of like biscotti straws or something, and then like in that jar is a rolled up clue. So like they give you clues, but like right now in this season, like Boston Rob is on this, and I know a lot of you who know Survivor are like, we know how that season ends. I don't know how that season ends, so please don't tweet me telling me.
They tweet you?
Well, some people are like, well, did you know this? And I'm like, great, now I know who won that season. Thank you. But no, like these returning people have gotten real good at like figuring out like where it tends to be hidden, and now the clues that they roll up are pointless because they already have it.
Do they find the clues still?
They
do they
still
keep
find
that in?
it,
They
and
keep that in the edit. I would just edit around it if people found it.
Well, I think what was happening is like they use people finding the clues, and they don't know that it's already been found, so they're like keep looking, and they waste their time with it, and they keep hope alive. So that's where I'm at now. I right now, the only thing I don't like about season 22 is that it's just kind of a repeat of season 21, where they just clearly built it so that Boston Rob and Russell can go at each other. And that just feels a little too artificial in a weird way. I'm a purist now. I kind of like it, just meeting new people. You either have like a season where it's fans versus favorites or heroes versus villains, and it is like our favorites coming back, or a season of all new faces. I don't like the mix as much. Fans versus favorites was okay because it was like a lot of favorites. If it's going to be I didn't like the season where they brought back Stephanie and Bobby John, just because like it was like the producers were like, we wish you made it further, you were good TV, and it just feels like a bias in a way that I don't like.
I think that was like the one redeeming thing with Survivor versus a lot of reality shows was it was like there was no bias, or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm wrong on that. As someone that watches RuPaul's Drag Race, you can immediately tell who the producers want you to hate and who they want you to like. All the it's right off the bat. You already like, okay, well, this person's probably gonna win, and then you just disappear.
Well, earlier seasons of Survivor, in my opinion, did not have as much bias. They really did. It was very much like a Naked and Afraid type show. It was like,
God,
can you beat the elements? And now, as the show is going on, as I'm in kind of what I think is its middle age, it is like very produced, and you don't really see people struggling in the wild as much.
No one's struggling anymore now.
Yeah. Some people
I know
are.
that.
You have some people who have health issues who go on that show, or some people who are just like, you shouldn't be outside longer than a day, and they get dehydrated immediately, and that happens. But most of the time,
in those earlier seasons, though, they got people that were like, I can't swim.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
A lot of Keno Loys out there like, I can't swim.
I can't swim. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't swim?
Like, you have that. You have people who are like, I've never camped before. They don't know that you should boil water before you drink it.
Yeah, before you drink it.
Well,
Did someone get really sick from that?
They worried that Sue was going to get sick,
Yeah.
and she was fine. She left for other reasons.
Yes, I remember.
But anyway, so that's where I'm at. What I was going to say is just graze over the fact that I'm watching Survivor to let everyone know I'm still watching it. We finally watched Anora a night before
You
the
haven't
Oscars.
watched Anora yet?
No, we've had a screener that was mailed to us by mistake, and then but we haven't set up our Blu-ray player since
Jesus
the
Christ,
holidays.
what is wrong? What is going on in this
Well, we
world?
had to move Darla's crate around, and that's where we put the Blu-ray player on. And then when Kelly's
Wait, you put the
parents
Blu-ray-
were staying with us during the holidays, and then the fires happened, so they stayed with us a week longer, and we just didn't. We didn't have a place to put the Blu-ray player.
The Blu-ray player sits on top of your dog's crate.
Yeah, because it's like you've seen our place. It's not that big, so we don't have much room.
But it's so many rooms that there's like the kitchen and this part, so I don't know where Darla's crate is.
Because we hid it. I think when you came for the Halloween
Yeah.
party, we covered it with a bloody sheet and used that to put our projector on.
You said,
couldn't
so we
see
moved
it.
the Blu-ray.
Yeah. We've had so many people come visit our place, and they're like, "You have a dog?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because our dog is mean. Our dog will bark and try to bite
Darla's a
people."
tiny little wiener.
She's so sweet. She's sweet with me, but we have to put her in the back room so we don't show her to guests.
Understandable.
Anyway, so we watched Anora. I very much liked it.
Yeah.
I loved the film. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was
It's great.
wild.
It makes sense that she won.
Definitely. And I'm so glad Sean Baker won.
She kept up with that.
Yeah.
She kept up with that voice, that character, the entire way through.
Yeah.
I was like, there was not one slip up that I heard. I was like, this woman ate this role.
It's
up.
like James Gandolfini. You just think he talks like that.
Yeah.
And then when you see him in real life, you're like, oh.
That voice, his normal voice, I do not like.
Yeah.
I do not like, and I'm so sorry.
talks deeper and-
I do not like
or
it.
talked.
I only want to see him in that Weasley nasal. I only want to see him in that. No, she was. I love
she was
Anora.
good.
I love that movie so much. It's. I still will, because you always have to rate them. You always have to compare them all the time. I love it so much. I am obsessed with Florida Project though, and I think I'm obsessed with it only because I'm on the West Coast my entire life. I don't know Florida and I don't know New York. And when I saw Florida Project, I was like, I did not know that there was a world like this.
Yes.
And it seems very correct or true to the movie.
Agreed. Florida Project is my favorite Sean Baker film, and I am from Florida, and that is the Florida I've
I did
seen.
not, yeah.
And I do know that dark side of the Magic Kingdom down in Central Florida, and I just thought it was a beautiful story. I just thought that was so cool. I really love Anora, though. I just think Dune Part 2 deserved a sweep.
Damn, and
I
it
think
did
Dune
it.
Part 2
And
was
it
the
did it.
finest film of the year. And I can't believe Villeneuve wasn't nominated for Best Director. Like
I think they don't. A piece of me was like, there's something there. I think he might have said something, or the Academy just does. Like, I don't know. I think they have beef with him for some
I think
reason.
it's a sequel. I think it's like giving Peter Jackson the Oscar for Two Towers. It just feels a little weird. You wouldn't do that. So I think they're waiting.
I was thinking the same damn.
They're waiting for Villeneuve's Oppenheimer, right? He'll get a Best Director. Well, I think he has won a lot of awards, and the Academy knows that Villeneuve is in a master class of filmmakers, and he'll sweep one day.
Sean Baker, this is second. Did he get director for Florida
He's
Project?
never
He just
won.
got Best Picture.
I think he was nominated for
Did Florida
his
Project?
screenplays, but I don't think he's ever gotten this kind of attention.
I thought Florida Project got more Academy Awards than Anora did.
Oh no, definitely not.
okay.
Anora was like the first time since Walt Disney a single person won 4 Oscars in a single night, because he won for screenplay, for editing, for picture, and director. Which is wild.
That's what happens when you are like, I'm gonna do this on a quick dime,
Yeah.
a quick famous dime. Not saying that it's good to do it on a quick famous dime, because there's always a lot of people that get kind of messed up in the math of the crossfire of it, which I think. Unfortunately, a lot of the people did, and the crew and the crew.
I
people
know,
did.
yeah. I'm happier Anora won if it had to be Anora versus like Amelia Perez or The Brutalist. But I do need to see The Brutalist, but it just sounds like that would have been pretty divisive. I like it when movies like Anora can go
I
the
love
distance,
it. I
you
love
know?
it when it's Anora. I love it. I need it when it's Anora. I need it when it's Mikey Madison. Also, a child girl, winning
Yeah.
Best Actress. Ugh.
As someone who just loved that Nolan finally won last year for Oppenheimer, I just miss it when, like, growing up in the 90s, every year the Best Picture felt like the biggest movie of the year. Gladiator, Titanic, Braveheart, Unforgiven even. Saving Private Ryan didn't win, but Shakespeare in Love won. And you
Shakespeare
can
in
kind
Love,
of get how the Weinstein's politics got its way in there. And it just kind of made sense because it also, in the 2000s, it felt that way too. Like, it was always the Lord of the Rings movies were up there. Chicago won. Scorsese's Departed won. These all felt like big movies. And then in recent years, it's felt like kind of like A24 neon movies. And nothing against that. These are all great movies. I just like that Oppenheimer one. And I felt like Dune Part 2 was the biggest movie of the year. And I wish that it had won.
I love Dune. I'm a Dune head. I will always root for Dune, and I was very confused at why I didn't see enough of those wins.
Yeah, and didn't it also just feel like everyone was memeing the Lisan al-Gaib? Like, it felt like it was a cultural moment in ways that none of these other movies were.
And I could be wrong, but I do know that I have friends that did vote in the Academy Awards, and I know damn well they forgot about Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I know
if they had released that in October, do you think it would have
I was
won?
like, I know damn well they forgot about Dune. Because they even mentioned forgetting about Dune.
It was Warner Brothers who insisted on releasing it in March instead of, they should have released it in the Joker slot. The Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh my God.
And they really thought Joker Folie à Deux was going to get their awards, and they should have released it in the fall slot, and they would have won.
No, they should have. They should have.
Or even the summer.
At least we know.
Oppenheimer was a July release.
We know how it feels. Oh, well, now, and then you know what sucks is like that next movie's going to have to fight. It's going to have to fight Avatar.
Oh, right.
It's going to have to fight Avatar. I don't think Avatar. I don't know. I don't ever know what they're going to vote with Avatar. I don't ever know where they're going to go.
They're always good.
I love them. I'm obsessed with them. I could see them being like, yeah, we're going to give it to Avatar. And I'm like, God damn it. Give it to Denis Villeneuve.
That guy, he will get his win.
Did he not get it for Roma?
Yeah, I think he...
Did he get director for Roma?
He's been nominated once for Arrival.
He's been nominated for Arrival?
Yeah. Arrival's
great.
A very worthy
Roma?
film. I think he should have been
Roma won, didn't he?
I believe Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated every year he's made a film.
100%.
Sicario, he should have been nominated. Prisoners, Blade 2049. 20, what was it? 2040.
I know we know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But I agree. I think Denis, I love him. I'm obsessed with him. I agree completely. I'm not against this whatsoever. I already got my Christopher Nolan win. But I also
and I think they just know he's good enough. He's going to keep making stuff, and then he'll sweep at some point.
Eventually. And then they're going to give it to something that I didn't want him to get it for. Or maybe I like everything. That's just what they did with Leonardo DiCaprio. And
DiCaprio, Scorsese, even arguably Spielberg. Spielberg eventually won for Schindler's List because he was undeniable. Yeah. But like a lot of people felt he should have been nominated for E.T.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, there was a million other movies I would have given it for Jamie Lee Curtis doing before this one.
I know. It's such a weird win for her. And I really like her as an actress.
No, I love her as an actress. It was just a
Angela
weird...
Bassett definitely did the thing.
Did we not hear the song?
We heard the song.
Did we not hear the song? I hope that woman's doing okay.
Yeah. I hope so too. I just don't know. I don't know her. I can't say she's doing okay.
You are her neighbor. Isn't she the skunk?
What? She lives in North Hollywood.
Okay, don't get it twisted. Sometimes celebrities live very close to us, and it scares the crap out of me every time. This is not
on our streets. They live over in like Toluca Lake.
They do.
Sherman
they live in
Oaks.
Toluca Lake.
Yeah.
What's her name lives in Toluca Lake, and this is not like me doxing. She knows. No. Wait, Melissa McCarthy lives in Toluca Lake.
Melissa McCarthy, Steve Carell. They live in Toluca Lake.
Who's fresh off the boat? Crazy Rich Asians. What's her name? What's her name?
Yeah.
She lives in Toluca Lake. And it was crazy.
The one who didn't want to come back.
Yeah, the one that didn't want to come back. Yeah, she lives in Toluca Lake. You'll be surprised. A lot of celebrities live near us, just not in our neighborhood.
Randall Park, I believe, lives there too, because I saw him at the Starbucks on Tahunga and Riverside.
I know damn well he lives over there because he made that entire short film in the IKEA.
Yeah. All right, look at us.
Look at us go.
Local LA heads. Talking about a couple of West Coast Avengers here. When we started talking about Kingpin. Don't tell them. This has been The Sneak Peek. Follow us on our socials. Be sure to subscribe to all the channels of the New Rockstars Network. Head on over to New Rockstars merch store, nerdright.shop. We have some great options like this Daredevil and Punisher shirt. And this is Punisher, not any other cops who might be using this insignia. Just let you know that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.